Hey, so this is my second episode of An Aspen in Progress. I wouldn't like call it a podcast. It's more like just me documenting my journey because I am in a major transitional phase from being a one person woman to having a baby. I am 33 years old, and this is my first child, and it's gonna be my last child, y'all. Hopefully, but definitely most likely be my last child. So I wanted to talk about today in this video about the cost of having a baby abroad, specifically in Colombia, because that's where I am. In November, after being in Colombia for 6 months, meeting my child's father and all that, we got pregnant pretty fast. I went back to America because my time in Colombia was up. I had applied for my digital nomad visa. They wasn't giving them out. They ain't giving them out no more to anybody. I don't even think they're giving them out no more. But yeah. So I went back in November. And spent the holidays with my family, spent Thanksgiving, spent Christmas, and by January, I was back out the country. I did get an ultrasound at Planned Parenthood in November to kind of see how far along I was. I was 8 weeks in November on the 21st, and then I did not see a doctor until I left the country and went to Cuenca, Ecuador. In Cuenca, my doctor visits were $40 to $50. And my OB-GYN was amazing. Marina Rodriguez, if you're ever in Cuenca, Ecuador, and you want to have a doctor, she's in Mount Sinai, which should probably be pronounced differently in Spanish, but she is in Mount Sinai Hospital and she speaks English and she was amazing. Every doctor visit came with a ultrasound and an evaluation and measuring and all that stuff. So that was really good. It was $40. The test that I had to take, so I had to take like a obviously some tests like to track where like my blood sugar was, where all the stuff that they do when you're pregnant, like make sure that you pretty healthy and that there's nothing that they can detect pretty early. They have to like find these things. So my first test that I had to take, that test was like $50 and it came with like 12 tests. America could never. And then I took a genetic test to make sure that my baby didn't have any like Down syndrome. I think Down syndrome or any other like chromosomal defects and issues, which came back completely fine. My baby is gonna be pretty healthy, thank God. That test was probably the most expensive test, and that test was, ooh, child, I gotta look it up because I was just looking at that thing. How much was the test? That test, I want to say it was like $300. How much was that test, child? How much some people charge me for this test? Because it was no BioCelis. Because what's this test? Okay, so it was $390. That was the most expensive test, and it was a genetic test. And I think in the U.S. it costs way more to have this test. So I was like, cool, I'll pay that $390. It ain't nothing. But for real, it was $390. So I had maybe three checkups with her, which was like $40 to $50. Our last one, she increased her visit price. So last one was $50. So 40, 80, 130 plus the, child, don't get me to do no damn math. We gonna do it right now together. 130 plus 390, and I think that that other test was like $50. $570, and I was in Cuenca from January to March. That was 3 months, and that's all I spent on getting tests, going to my OB-GYN, and getting a genetic testing. And the genetic test is when I found out that I was having a boy. Y'all, I wanted a girl so bad. I always wanted a girl. Like, before I went abroad, I knew that I was gonna have a child. I just didn't know how it was gonna happen, but I knew that I was gonna get pregnant soon, because that's some other spiritual stuff that we can talk about later. But I knew I was gonna have a baby. But I just thought the baby was gonna be a girl. So I got my test results back, and it had said that he was a boy, that I was having a boy. I cried. I really did. I cried at first, and then I eventually just accepted it. And I was like, it's a baby. The baby's innocent. So yeah, it's nothing. So I'm glad that I'm having a little baby. So coming here to Colombia, things are a little bit more expensive. The doctor visits were about $80 per visit. The first doctor I went to, she tried it. I went in there, she didn't have no ultrasound, nothing. She was like, you gotta go to this separate place to go get an ultrasound, to go look at the baby. And I was just like, me and my child's father was there, and I was like, girl, not you gringo pricing me, and you don't have no ultrasound, girl, please. So I had got my money back because I had cursed them the bleep out. Because what do you mean? Like, usually every doctor's visit with an OB-GYN comes with a ultrasound. Like, stop playing with me. So that was a dud. And that was a lady that I was going to use. She was also a humanized doctor, which I'll get into later. So I got my money back from her. I had my child's father go up there and get the money back. And I was like, I ain't going up there, because if I go up there, it's going to raise Cain. So he went up there because I'm ignorant. And he went up there and he got the money back. So eventually I have found a new doctor. Her name is Letty, Catalina Letty. And she's amazing. She's a humanized doctor, and she also speaks English and Spanish. And she is the one that is going to be birthing my child. So she's going to be there for the birth and doing all the things. So her visit price is also $80. But she has an ultrasound, child. Okay, she has ultrasound, and she makes sure that I'm up on my medications, and she helped me find the best prices to have the baby. At first, I wanted to have the baby at Clínica Prado, which is in El Poblado, and Clínica Prado is such a beautiful facility. Like, me and my child's father, we went and we toured the facilities, and it was so nice. I loved it, and I really would have liked to have my baby there. But if I would have wanted her to be my OB-GYN, the person that birthed my baby, it would take me way over budget. So we decided on Clínica Somos, which is downtown Medellín. And it was more my budget, and I get to still have her as my attending physician as during the birth. And for her to be my attending physician, at first it was $18, but for me, because I'm so lit, she had took the price down for me for about $16.50. So that is about around 6 million COP, which is Colombian pesos. And to have the baby at the hospital, that was around, I would say, 3.5 million pesos. Yeah, I'm rounding, but 3.5 million pesos. So in total, it's around 10 million pesos. I didn't want to have my baby in a public hospital. I wanted to have it at a private hospital with my own OB-GYN, somebody I already know, and somebody who also speaks English and can, relay stuff to me. But oh my goodness, I would have loved to have it at Clínica Prado. So if you ever are in, the best places for me, honestly, that I have learned would have been Clínica Rosario, but they was talking about 14 million pesos, girl, please. And that would have been for my OB-GYN and to have the baby there. Which, Clínica Rosario is like really one of the best places to have the baby. But Clinical Prado is next. It's a really good facilities, beautiful facilities, and I would recommend anyone. Not my eye, girl. The eyelash keep kind of come. If it come off during the thing, don't say nothing to me. I'll be like, girl, hold on, we're gonna pause this. And child, I just decided to take the lashes off because it done ripped apart. These are like my favorite lashes, and I've been using them. This is like one lash for like at least a week, so it was time for it to go. But Clinical Prado is definitely a place that I would recommend. I would also recommend having a doula, but that would have took me over budget. But I did find some really good doulas, and if you need that information, I will try to remember to put it in the description of where to find a doula. But you want to have a humanized doctor because if you read about the horror stories of how women be having babies out here in Colombia, child, you would be like, America is similar. But they also had passed a law about having humanized doctors and humanized care for women because of this. So humanized doctor, I want to give y'all the real definition of a humanized doctor and not just me, giving you a summary or something. So humanized doctor, let's go to the the Googles. So this is what it's saying. It says humanized OB-GYNs refers to the movement to bridge the gap between clinical healthcare and deeply personal, empathetic patient experiences. It shifts from treating patients as medical procedures to treating them as whole people with bodily autonomy, valid emotional needs, and personal choices. So it is patient-centered communication. So instead of leading with medical intake questions, humanized providers prioritize connection. They utilize techniques that empower patients to tell their stories in an open-ended way. Informed consent. Clearly explaining all the options, risks, and alternatives without rushing to using overly clinical jargon. Patients are treated as partners in their health decisions, not subjects to be treated. There's a humanized birth movement, which is really dope. I really think that should be a thing because you hear a lot of horror stories about women in the U.S. all over the globe, actually, with how people treat women when they're giving birth to freaking other humans that will, benefit the society. And it's crazy, but also, patriarchy. That's another thing. We should talk about patriarchy and how mothers get treated. And I really witnessed this as becoming a mother, where I'm starting to see, like, you get online and you see a video of mother and you don't see it, like, if you don't see the father around, there's like 20 men in the comments talking about, where's the father? And it's just like, are you people are unhinged. As a woman, there's nothing that you could do right. Like, you're always going to be criticized. So just do what the hell you want to do. But back to this thing. Back to this humanized birth movement. It's about shared decision making, putting the birthing process at the center of control and decision making while minimizing unnecessary over medicalization or invasive procedures. Like, child, I don't need to be cut. Don't be cutting me, because I'm not interested in having 8 layers of my body cut open to take this baby out. I want him to come through the coochie, and I also want you to put that needle in my back. Because I asked, and you said, and that's the thing. When I first met Catalina, my OB-GYN, she was like, look, it's your choice, and how do you want this to be done? And she let me know that she was a humanized doctor off the bat, because that was super important for me. Because, child, when you read about this way that women are treated in Colombia when they have babies, it's no different than the stories that you hear about how black women are treated in America. So yeah, girl, had to get that done. So where else are we going with this? Getting stuff for my baby. Like, okay, so getting things for my baby here has been like super affordable. I just recently spent, how much did I spend? I spent $99 plus like another $143 that was just recently, but that's not all I spent on his stuff. But I had got like bottles. I got me my breast stuff for my breast. I had got a bra. I had got what else did I get? Bottles. I got bayetas, which are like a receiving blankets. Bayetas could be called blankets or receiving blankets, but I got receiving blankets. I had got some pacifiers. I got rompers. I got all the stuff that baby need, little sets. So many cute things. Oh my goodness. I'll probably show you guys next video, like all the things I bought for my baby and how much it costs. But yeah, I'm so excited thinking about that. But that wasn't really expensive. I would say that in total for the things that I bought for him that he will need initially coming out of the womb into the world, we're probably like $300. I have to get a baby carrier, which I haven't got that yet, but I have to get a baby carrier, and I haven't decided on getting a stroller yet because most things are pretty walkable and I can just carry him. But I do want to get a stroller. Just a stroller that I want costs $500, and we're gonna have to put that on a payment plan. Shout out to a firm. But yeah, it's a really nice one. It's by Joy. Love that company. What else? Oh, I did. So far in Colombia, what I've spent on OB-GYN appointments since I've been here since March, and it is now May. I've spent like around, well, in total, not just in Colombia, but in Cuenca and Colombia, I have since January, I have spent $360 on OB-GYN appointments. I had to get an ultrasound here because even though my OB-GYN, she does do the ultrasounds and all that stuff, the other place, and for some reason in Medellín, you have to go to another place to get like actually your baby actually measured and then to see how much the baby weighs and all this other stuff. Me and my child's father had went to this place and we spent $29 on an ultrasound. Now, if we wanted a 3D ultrasound, it would have been $79. A 4D ultrasound, sorry. Which I really feel like I want to get a 4D ultrasound, but we are already at the finish line, child. So that should have been something I thought about a couple weeks ago. Prenatal care. I didn't really like spend much there. Spend money there. But medications and vitamins since January till now, I have spent maybe $240 to $270. And that was my iron was low, so I had to get iron. And of course prenatals. And what else? Calcium. So those are the three things that I had to get. I have been anemic since the baby was like 2-3 months. Since I was 2 or 3 months. So, I've been taking my hierro, which is iron. I've been taking that, but I don't know. I also, TMI, got BV, child, but didn't have like any symptoms. But I was like, that's a common thing when you're pregnant. You just pop up with the BV. Because I was looking at my child's father like, sir. But no, when I realized that it was something like normal. So that's something to look out. Like when you are pregante, which is that's not how you say that in Spanish. But when you are pregnant, you may get BV. And that is just like an imbalance of the flora inside of your vagina. So my OB-GYN, she gave me some cream and then I'm good. But I didn't have any symptoms of BV. I didn't have any smell. I didn't have any, so I was like, what you mean BV? But yeah, so that was the one thing, that was the one complication that happened. What else? Yeah, that's really much it. So I haven't spent like a lot of money. The most expensive thing is going to actually go give birth to the baby. And I'm allowed 2 days in a doctor's stay. Now, one thing you need to know is if you're going to have your baby in Colombia specifically, you need to pack your own diapers. You need to have your own supplies for the baby, like milk and all that stuff, Pampers for you, because they don't give you that stuff. Like in America, you get that stuff in the in the room. And you also get like a $50,000 bill, but you also get all the things. So yeah, that is the totality of how much I've spent, which is not even a lot. It's way lower cost than having the baby in America. Even though I qualified for Medicaid and I wouldn't have to pay anything, I just didn't want to go back. And I wanted to spend this time with my child's father so he can be a part and be involved in this process. And yeah, so as of today, I am almost 36 weeks, y'all. We got 4 more weeks, damn near, for this baby decide to be like, hello, hey world. But yeah, that's where it is. So I hope that was helpful. If there's anything that you have questions about or that you think I missed, then I'm happy to answer those questions. But yeah, it was definitely way cheaper overall to have the baby abroad in Colombia, and to have to be, and also with Medicaid you cannot choose your doctor, but I was able to choose my doctor. But it wasn't even about like Medicaid or nothing. Like if I ever wanted to go back to Texas and use the Medicaid, I could. But no, I'm paying everything out of pocket, and it's been not really been a strain on me. But I think the next video I'm gonna show you all the stuff that I bought for the baby, because I have an order to go pick up, and it has some things for him. And I got the little the titty sucking things that suck out the milk and stuff. So yeah, I'm excited. But also, we have to push a baby out of our Gucci. That's why I'm gonna be one and done, and that's gonna be another clip where I'll tell y'all why I'm one and done, because that's what I'm gonna be, child. We ain't gonna be doing that. I don't know how people be having 5 kids, even though my pregnancy was super easy. I was in a beautiful country with beautiful weather. It's a no for me, Chuck. I'm not doing it again. You hear that? You're gonna be our only child. It's gonna be me and you, and we're gonna be in all the countries. So I'll see you guys in the next video. Ciao.